Kia ora Year 10. This is a short video going through the basic rules about angles around parallel lines. There are two things I want to focus on in this video. The first thing is all the different words we use when we're looking at parallel lines, and I've put a list of them on this slide. So I'll talk about those briefly first. Then we're going to start looking at all the rules we have when we've got parallel lines. Okay, the first word obviously is parallel. So those two lines, if you just imagine they were drawn straight, are lines that would never ever meet. Okay, so we call those parallel. And in maths we usually indicate that lines are parallel by doing an arrow on each one. So if we had a shape that looked like that, drawn beautifully of course, not like that, if we want to show that the top line and the bottom line, let me get my wee lightsaber working, here we are. So if I want to show that that line and that line are parallel, I'm going to put on an arrow like that. Now if I now want to show that this line and this line are parallel, then I'm going to put on other arrows, and I might put on a double arrowhead like that. Okay, so we look for the matching pairs of arrows. Someone asked me in class if it mattered if we had two arrows on each one, and it doesn't. It's just a little bit cleaner to work with one. So that's parallel. Now the next word, transversal, means a line that crosses through a parallel line. So trans is Latin for crossing. Okay, so that's a transversal. The next three, corresponding, co-interior and alternate, are types of matching angles. Okay, so we're going to develop three rules from those words. The next phrase, vertically opposite, is one that we've already come across, where we know that this angle here and this angle here will be exactly the same. In class we worked that out by using our rule about the angles on a line. But once we've worked that rule out, then we don't have to work it out again. We can just identify vertically opposite angles as being equal. And finally, the last word is this one here, supplementary. Supplementary means angles that add up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's take a look at the parallel line rules now. The first set of parallel line angles that I want to work with are the corresponding ones. So corresponding means matching. So in this case, I'll do it with colours. This angle and this angle are the same. Now to have that work, I have to know that my lines are parallel. So I put my parallel line arrows on. There we go. So those two angles are the same. This angle here matches up with the blue angle here. So those two are the same. Let's choose another colour. Okay, green. Those two angles are the same there. And lastly, let's have some nice purple. Here we go. Purple angles are the same. Purple angles down here are the same. So if we can identify a matching pair of corresponding angles around parallel lines, then they will be equal. For example, if this angle in here is 65 degrees, that means we know that this one will also be 65 degrees. And we write that as corresponding angles, parallel lines are equal. So that's your shorthand there. Remember, you've got that sheet that you've got stuck in your book with all the angle rules on it. Okay, on to the next one. Alternate angles. So alternate angles are angles that work like this. So they're between the parallel lines, but they're on opposite sides of the transversal. Okay, so the two red angles are alternate angles, and alternate angles are also equal. And again, I have to have parallel lines for that to work. So we're always checking that we're working with the wee arrows on the parallel lines. Okay, so there's one pair there, but the ones that we tend to forget about are those two alternate angles there. Okay, so two pairs of them there. Now notice that that lets me then work out this angle here. Oops, this angle here is vertically opposite this one, and this angle here is vertically opposite this one. But in this video, I'm really just working with the parallel line rules. Okay, so the two red angles are equal, the two pink angles are equal. Next rule, co-interior angles. Co-interior angles are between the parallel lines. So here are my parallel lines. This angle and this angle are co-interior. Now you can see even from looking that these angles are not the same. But what we can work out is that if we know this angle is A, from our corresponding angle rule, we know that this angle must also have size A. And we know that those two angles are on a straight line. So this angle here has to add up to 180 degrees with this one. So that's 180, take away A. Now that's all very messy, so I'm going to erase some of that. Right, we'll get rid of that. So that's where that rule comes from, if you want to have a think about that. But once we know the rule, we just say that co-interior angles, parallel lines, are supplementary, or are sup. If we can't remember the word for add up to 180, we can say add to 180 degrees. Okay, on the next slide there are 3 questions to practice. Okay, so pause the video and have a go at all of those. You need to find the marked angles and, as usual, give your reasons. Right, now let's have a look at the answers to these. Well, in the first one, the blue question, we can work out that x must equal 100 degrees because corresponding angles, parallel lines, are equal. So that's x, and then y must also equal 100 degrees because it's vertically opposite angles, angle to x, so vertically opposite angles are equal. Number 2, C is equal to 92 degrees. C is 92 degrees because those angles are alternate angles around parallel lines, so they are equal. Right, lastly, number 3, not surprisingly, is the third of the rules. So A is equal to 80 degrees, okay, because co-interior angles, oh, what a big mess. Co-interior angles, parallel lines, are sup. Now, if one of my students handed me in work like that, I would tell them it was shockingly messy. I'm really sorry about that. I've managed to leave my stylus at school, but I wanted to get this video made. So just make sure that you can read those rules or write down what I've said from the words. Thanks for watching. I will do another video soon that puts the parallel line rules in together with all of the rules we know about triangles, and so they will be a little bit harder.